Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be
Welcome
here.
I know. Welcome to episode 5. And it's
Unordinary
Unordinary
conversations
Conversations with
with
Amanda.
and with Carolyn. Yay. And if anyone hears my dog bark in the background, that would be part of the unordinary.
Yes, this is true.
Right? Bam. There you
Yes,
go.
always something. Yes. But that's all right. And my cat's over here, wanting dinner. So, hey, it's one of those unordinary pet times where they just want something, right?
Exactly. So. And we all do.
That's right.
So what do you want? What do you want? What did you learn this past week?
What did I learn this past week?
I learned, it doesn't even have to be this past week, but just maybe like, what's going on and what resonates in your head today?
Yeah, so I feel like the last week just really has been amazing. I've been processing, I told you, in my transition of switching to just being full-time coaching consultant. And I've learned just in the waiting how to be at peace. I think peace is such a huge value in my life. And no matter what I'm facing, peace is so important. And this week, I just was really doing a lot of different coaching, and it was amazing because every time I do coaching with other people, I receive part of it, right? You want to serve. I'm like loving serving, but I get so served and realized we were talking about generational family trauma and just realizing how much, right? I talk about this the impact of our family line has on us and how we can actually shift it. So for me, I feel like there were a lot of shifts this week in learning about things that I didn't even realize were part of my generational family line and how that can shift for the better. So for me, it was a lot of reflection on that. So,
and how is your family embracing that? Like, how is your family warming up to? Are they like excited to, or are some people excited to be on the journey with you?
Well, that's a great question. Actually, this journey has been my own personal journey, but learning, right? Like even like, for example, my client, this is really fascinating. This is, I didn't even know this is possible, but she actually had memories. Okay. I'm going to go here. She had memories of the far, far past, like cellular memory trauma, which we don't always talk about, but is actually, we say genetics, but actually she had memories of things that her family did that were not great, that happened that were a result of part of stuff today. So for example, she actually realized that her family line had part in the KKK, right? Or like different stuff that you wouldn't realize. And she had memories coming back when we were doing some work and was able to release that. And I'm just saying, like, that's fascinating to me. Like I had no plans, right, to go there. And it was interesting how she realized, like, we carry so much of that. So I then was able to realize in my family line, right, what was happening and stuff like that. So in terms of family, I think my family is about healing journey. I think my family is in different places there. I'm definitely one that likes to continue to like get everything I can so my family can have lots of, health and goodness, right? And I think sometimes we just don't know how to get there. So I was surprised at the depths that our cells carry from all of our family. Like that was amazing to me.
Well, I mean, I can relate to that. This is not what I was going to like, just a story.
No, I know.
When I was going through my eating disorder and working on health and getting better, like my mom's first, I'll make this short. My mom's first comment when visiting me in the hospital was, why can't you just eat a cheeseburger? Like there's people dying of cancer upstairs. And then it went from that real quickly. She was all in to learn. And the more she learned, she understood, we started uncovering family history, like what you're talking about, and the layers of repeating the behavior over and over and over. And it's like, you can only hope that you're open enough and strong enough to break the behaviors. And I believe that I was fortunate enough to, not only did I change my life, but I changed for sure my mom's, my mom's adventure in this world because of that. And so I was just curious, like if you needed your parents to be, or to ask questions, I'm just curious, would they be open to answering questions for you?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think in terms of that, like, I definitely know on my dad's side, like, let's say, for example, like I know some of the things that had to ship what's interesting is my dad's side of the family, like our Hellman, that's our last name. My great, I think he's at a fifth great grandparent, but basically Christian Hellman, he was part of the Revolutionary War. So he was part of, he was part of who fought, Revolutionary War, fighting for our nation. And so he came over from Germany. So I know that. And on my grandfather's side, it's Genovese, right? So I know he was from Italy and Rome and different, history, and his family came from Slovakia. And I know that on my, my dad's side, he also had Snyder, right? So like different family of different components, different things they bring in. And so I have awareness of some of that history, even like my one great grandmother, she was Native American. So, that's part of my richness. So I'm like all over the place, right? European and Middle East.
Right.
But so I've talked to my family, and I know like some of the things that my family, their history is, and I think they'd be open to it. But I think we don't realize that because we say genetics, but we don't, I know it's always controversial, but there's a cellular, like, if you really think about it, like, let's just think about the simplicity. I'm like, you have like a mom and a dad, right? And they carry genes, right? We say genetics, but they carry stuff, and anything that happens in their life or our families comes down, and then we're born, right? And we all have organs. So like, I think we forget that like all that cellular memory actually comes in, right? You think about somebody who has a heart from somebody else, they get a transplant. I've heard of people saying, wow, I had memories that I never had because they had the organ, because our organs carry our emotions, it carries that memories, it carries everything. And so I'm so more believing that it's not just genetics, but it's also the stuff that we carry. And so anyway, like that's where my mindset is. So it was just fascinating to me. And it was fascinating that it pretty much was proven, like she was getting all these flashbacks of all of her family when we were going through healing, right, of the gut, which is like, I say your emotions are in your gut and your organs.
I agree.
And so, that it was, so anyway, so yeah, so when you're asking that, I think sometimes we do, and sometimes it's suppressed, like, right, like we might have had people from slavery, right, either on one end or another, oppression, and that stuff, we don't realize how much that carries through until like it breaks, and I believe it can be broken. But yeah, it is an interesting question. It is something that I've talked to my family about, to the best of my knowledge, right, or like seen like the gravestones of family, or been able to do that. So I know you talked about that with your eating disorder, talking to your mom, and it is interesting to see the behaviors or responses that we have, right? When we say, oh, they're just like just like blah, blah, blah. Well, partially, but then it's also part of that stuff that's historical.
Exactly. Like, why would you expect, like you shouldn't expect something different because that's what you're made up of, or however, right?
Yeah.
No, I do. I think that's absolutely fascinating. And I think it's actually also a good tool to know that you can release it, right? But that gives you information that is confirmation that you can acknowledge it and release it.
Yeah. That's what I found fascinating about. Yeah.
I guess,
I know that we started off that way, but it just was fresh in my mind because I did, like I said, it happened today with a client, and it was like amazing. Like I was like, whoa, how did, she just kept getting these different things to release. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like, and I left feeling even lighter myself, saying, wow, so much was released in that session. And it was just so cool. So
that is awesome. I look forward to hearing like some not updates, but like, she's probably going to wind up she may have a really emotional day, and then it's wonderful. It's like, because you still have to process it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The processing, I always say it takes some time, but night and day. I mean, like in the 12 weeks, like in the beginning, like couldn't even really get through one session without sleeping the rest of the next day. And today, now it's like every day she's up every day and balanced, and it's like amazing
that
to
is
see,
awesome.
Going from like complex trauma to really functioning is like, and that amount of time has been incredible. Yeah.
Well, I think it's awesome that you have the talent to bring it out in individuals. She's lucky to be working with you.
Well, thanks. But yeah, it was just, so I'm just excited about that. So I'm thank you for that question.
No, so mine is, and it of course fits in, right? Is I was thinking about, I've checked so many things off my list. I've checked, and this goes back a long time ago, but a family suicide attempt. I've checked off an eating disorder. I've checked off a divorce. I've checked off my own divorce. I've checked off a lot of things, and I think it's important in thinking about all the things you've checked off is the payoff of checking them off, right? So it's huge, because I wouldn't change anything that has happened, good or bad, but my paycheck at the end of the day is huge. It's enormous, because I was able to go through and be here today to talk about it, and be here to share it with people, and to say that you can do it and feel safe, and you can collect your big paycheck at the end of the day, right? Because there's nothing more important than your physical and emotional health. And I'm in sales, and I believe that if you work hard and you're honest and intense about what you're doing, the paycheck follows. And I don't think it's any different with, I guess, mental health or just mental situations, family situations. The paycheck's always there if you do the work. And I think it's so awesome, because that puts you, me, you, whatever, all of us in control of what's coming in. And that's powerful, right? Super
Absolutely.
powerful. I've ever received. I'm going to be like on the Jerry Lewis telethon, right? I'm going to hold up my big check. So
No, I love it.
I look forward to, every day, whether there's, good things or bad things. It's my new way of thinking of it, of checking it off. So I'm like, okay, let's do this, because then I can say I did it and I understand it, and I can move on. And then I can share the experience.
No, I think that's amazing. And thank you for sharing about your, just when you were saying check, okay, like suicide attempt, right? Or like eating disorder and, divorce, and your other, your divorce, and just all the things that you've gone through, and being able to say, yeah, like as I go navigate through this, right? Like this is where I'm at now. And it's important to have our emotional and physical health, and it's important, and that can lead into, right, our health and our wellness do then lead into, right, what we do and our passions, and having that honesty and integrity. But like as we heal, like I really truly believe, as we truly heal and become the truest, right, we are, because sometimes there's a lot of layers, right? People will see that, right? And they'll gravitate to you, because it's like, you're just truly you, authentically you, and what you do and your passions, right? Like, you can't hide, like you can't fake your passion. I mean, you can try, but people know it, right? They know if you're passionate about it or not. Like, they know if it's something that is just like, this is what I was born for, right? Like after all this stuff that you went through, right, Carolyn, like you're able to then bring in sales or talk to people, but you're passionate about it, something that you have, right? And so like people can know if that's something that you're passionate about. So I do believe,
and I think that's what gets me here today, and I think it's what brought us together is shout out to MJ again, but she knew that we both had this intense and real authentic passion, and it changes people's lives, which is what made me want to do this in the whole first place. Is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even before we met, and right, even before we met, like for you as well, you were already doing that. So I think it's really, really cool. And I think that, I don't know, I think we're lucky. We're super lucky.
We are. I'm very thankful. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do this. And just because we're just talking about our unordinary conversation, just wanted to put those of you watching, hopefully you're on our page, but we have our own Unordinary Conversations with Amanda and Carolyn on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, all you have to do is go to the search bar and put it in, and it'll come up, and then you can connect with us, or we can connect with you. You can message us and it'll show, and then we can, connect with you or message you back. But that is our own personal LinkedIn page for our show. So Carolyn, we've been working on some different things, but I put in a couple messages on that page, and there's all the 4 episodes are on the page. So you can certainly, if you haven't watched all of them and you're just catching up, you're just catching episode 5, not to be worried. There are 4 other episodes on the page, about 30 minutes each. And so you can catch on up and catch all the fun wisdom nuggets we like to throw out here unordinarily, because we never know what each other is bringing to or asking. And so it makes it more fun. So that's my little, every time I just want to make sure you know where it is and how to get there.
And of course I am like technically challenged, and I'm still trying to get there, but thank God I'm on the call, so I know what we say and I take notes.
That's right. And you're listening too, right?
But I'm so excited to hear. We really want feedback. Like we're open to it. We're ready. Bring it on. I don't know. So, do you have a question for me tonight?
I do. Okay. So I know last time we were talking about getting an ice cream cone, but I'm actually intrigued.
Mhm.
What is your favorite? I have a favorite memory about this, but what is your favorite memory of getting ice cream? Maybe with your family or by yourself. What is your favorite ice cream memory?
Actually, it's a funny one.
Good.
And I'm not sure I would call it favorite, but I just will never forget this. And I think about it probably more than you would think I would think about this. But I had my son and he was like maybe 1 or something. And we were in the Limited at a mall that's out by
Yeah,
us,
I
right?
love the limited.
And I'm pushing him and he had an ice cream and I'm like shopping and everything's good. And I'm a very young mom or younger mom, right? And he like takes the ice cream and just like whips it. And I was just like, okay, well, and here now it's what he's 20, gonna be 26 years later. I'm still not in control. And so it just reminds me of like, I know that's not necessarily like good or a funny story, but I'm the person who found some humor in it because like, who doesn't want to throw an ice cream cone every now and then, right? And
Right.
only when you're a kid can you get away with it.
Did he
So
pick it? Did he pick it up and eat it or no?
that
No.
was the end of that ice cream cone.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think it's happened more than once, but I mean, it was just, I don't know, it's like the whole just concept of throwing the ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And he wasn't having a fit. He was just like, thought that would be really fun. So I don't know. I encourage you to throw an ice cream cone at someone.
Yeah. It wasn't a 5-second rule where you pick it up. That's what I was just curious. You know how kids are. They'll just
Yes.
like pick it up and eat it, but you probably caught it ahead of time.
Well, and he was in the stroller and I was so
Oh,
horrified,
yeah,
embarrassed. I was just like, oh my God, I hope no one saw that. But then I, of course, being me, thought it was funny and whatever. And
I love it. Yeah.
so,
No, that's good. So throwing
silly
ice
little
cream
story, but
cones.
it's just something that flashes through my mind every now and then.
Look at that.
And we're all out of control still, but it's all good. So my question for you today is, what would you say your most unordinary relationship was? And it can be with food. It can be, I say that whatever, I don't really, I mean, it can be with anything. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a person, but
Okay.
an unordinary, and it can also be silly unordinary, right? Like not,
Okay.
I'm not digging for the trauma or some heartfelt story.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Let me think about this for 1 second, just because I want to see who
We
comes
catch
to
each other off
mind.
guard.
Huh?
I said we catch each other off.
You do. Well, I'm just thinking, I'm wanting to think about a relationship. Let's see. I'll go with, so I was in Arizona, was teaching, and it was after my first year, and we needed a teacher who had a background in autism. And we ended up finding someone. She lived up north, 3 hours away. So I was near the desert, literally an hour of Phoenix. And she was teaching in Pine Grove. So she ended up coming to Arizona, right? Coming to this school, and we became friends. Like, we just started to get to know each other, and we were as opposite as can be in some ways. Like, I was tall, brunette, right? Like loud. And she was like shorter, to the point, and, blue-eyed, brown hair, and just like quieter, but like, intense, like in different ways. And I was like intense in my own ways. And we ended up becoming really good friends. And then I moved in with her, and we had differences. Okay. And so like, yeah, we had differences. Like, I was just, me, and we ended up getting through some really intense, hard times. We were like sisters, right? But with friendship, that can, we got through some stuff, right? Like that we were able to talk about today. And even today, she actually was in Arizona. Sorry, I met her, but she has family in Pennsylvania. So don't you know, about like 7 or 8 years ago, her parents were divorced when she was early. And someone that she knew from that town, she ended up getting married to. So like, she actually lives 3 hours away. So we don't get to see each other all the time, but I know, but I just saw her recently because she foster then adopted a little son. And so that was amazing. So I got to be there for that day. But, we've been friends for now, I would say it's 15 years, of friendship, through all kinds of stuff, through kids and like broken relationships and all kinds of stuff. And so that would be my fun one, so I still talk to her. We've, traveled together. Like I said, with life, I don't see her all the time, but we get to still see each other in the same state. So if I needed to, I could go up there in a day, right, and see her. Yeah. So that would be my, my friendship. That was funny because we always talk, like, we're like, we made it, we're still making it, even though we're on different journeys, right? Or like I might be in a different place than her, and yet we still connect.
I love that. And I think that you have to be open to giving other people a chance that you might think, oh, no, I would never be friends with them. Or, you know what I mean? You're like, people are quick to judge. And I think you have to take a breath, because I would agree, like some of my closest friends are people that we are on different planets completely, but in our hearts and our souls and our guts, as you mentioned, the guts, like we still come from the same place. And so you learn so much. Which is like, I guess my takeaway from today, before we go into our quotes, but my takeaway is there is so much to learn by paying attention to your list and paying attention to the people who are around you, and experiencing through other people, like you did through your client today, the joy of release.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Just, being able to let go of things. And I think, well, it's not my quote, but like, but like it is like, sometimes we hold on to so many things, and just letting go, right? You never know what comes back, hopefully good things, right? But sometimes letting go is a good thing, because then you have room for other things, or you change, you evolve. So yeah, I love that you said that. So I just thought of letting go quotes.
Nope, I love it. It's awesome. My quote is, it's not 100% formulated, but it is conceptually turning yourself inside out to offer the world and yourself transparency. And then you can turn yourself back inside. And I think what I'm going to do one day, I've decided, is I'm going to literally wear my clothes inside out, and I'm going to share why I'm wearing my clothes inside out. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because I just think that it's a statement of, I am not afraid to show you what's on the other side. And if anything, I'm excited to show you what's on the other side. And I trust you, and I trust myself. And
I like that. I like that. Yeah. And people might, it's important, right? Because that vulnerability, like the internal is the hardest, right? Because that's like actually bringing you closeness, right? Like when you actually bring out you, like the inside stuff to kind of work through it, that is the scariest part, because like you're going through that stuff, and a lot of that stuff, once it comes out, then you really get to evolve. And it's so that's,
you're like, oh my God, I am the coolest person ever, I never knew it, right? I was hiding in there, like I gotta get it out.
I love it. I love just being able to be vulnerable and share. That's amazing.
So the word is inside out. Be inside out.
Inside out. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Explore.
Yeah, really like know yourself inside, right? Because like you're with yourself 24/7, so you might as well know who you are, right? And lead from the inside out. I like it. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you said. Lead
from the inside out. That is the biggest challenge in life, isn't it? Because it's like leading inside, right? Internally healing. And I think as we do that, we can be more vulnerable. And people aren't always, I don't know about you, but as we're like closing, I think that people aren't sure what to do when you're so honest about what's going on or your story, because we don't always do that, right? We don't always share or like, be able to have dialogues like that, because so many people have been like, nope, we can't talk about that, right? So like what the internal is so healthy, because if we can bring it up, then we don't have to keep carrying it. We can actually release it.
And so I would say our challenge for everybody today is to bring it up. Be in a safe place, be with someone, start out slowly, obviously with someone that you like in your heart think you can trust, if you can start it, and just, I don't know, go for it.
Inside Out. I think there's a song Inside Out, but I could be totally wrong.
Inside out. Oh, you turn me whatever.
Oh, that's right. Inside Out. Yeah, that's one. I was thinking of a different one,
Coming
but I love it.
soon,
See, now we
Amanda and
sing. We
Carolyn
have
the singers.
karaoke on here too.
Right?
We sometimes do karaoke. We'll throw it out there like Inside Out. If you have another song, audience, please. We would love to hear another Inside Out song. I don't even know what I was thinking of. I like, yeah, that is a song, Inside
All
Out.
right.
Now it's in
Diana
my head.
Summer, I think
Huh?
it is. Donna Summer or
Maybe I
Diana?
have to look it up.
Diana Ross or Donna Summer, Inside
Okay.
Out.
Awesome.
So there you go.
I love it. So see, everybody, not only do you get quotes and
Right.
how we're doing and these nuggets, but sometimes we will bring out our songs. Like now I love the Inside Out thing, right? And if you remember from episode 1, eat your Brussels sprouts, maybe wearing your clothing inside out. Who knows?
Who knows?
So yeah, but I
Who
love
knows
it.
how we'll show up next episode, right?
Who knows? It's always a
knows?
mystery. Yes, I know.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you all. See you next time for episode 6
We can't wait.
on
Unordinary
Unordinary Conversations with Amanda
and with Carolyn.
Awesome. Well, take care, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.